that never gets easy, having people talk about you like that when you're standing right there. It's just always uncomfortable. But thank you so much, Heather. I just really appreciate all those kind words. I just want to take a moment, and I think I caught everyone, all the elected and candidates in the room. Molly Buck, running for House District 41. I don't know where Jeff's sitting. Jeff Perry, City Council. And Jeff Schumacher, School Board. Thank you all for being here. All right, thank you all so much for coming. I'm still crafting my message, so I'm going to read from my notes, and you're my guinea pig audience. So
safe space.
You just let me know afterwards if that was not. Don't do that again. But thank you all for coming tonight. Neighbors, friends, people I haven't met yet, that I hope to meet before the night ends, just thank you for being here. And before I get too far into this, I want to take a moment to introduce some people who are very dear to me and have been here from the beginning. It's my husband, John, who has always believed in me. I never had to ask, should I do this? The answer was always yes. Doesn't matter. My daughter, Erica, who reminds me exactly why I'm doing this every day. My brother, Jack, and his wife, Kristen, who have always been supportive. They're my niece and nephew. My nephew's in college at UNI, and my niece is working. But they have all been very supportive through all of this. And then I just want to go back to Erica for a minute and brag on her. She's a freshman in the nursing department at Marquette. Yeah. And a few weeks back, she was chosen to travel to the Wisconsin state capitol and talk to representatives about nursing. Wow. So I'm just going to say, stay tuned to this space for another Tagliareni in a few years. And then I know you all know, or a lot of you know, I was on the school board, but I don't know how much you know about me. So just a few things. I was born and raised in a small town in Wisconsin. Population fluctuated between 500 and 600. I had a high school graduating class of 18 people. Growing up in such a small community just instilled incredible values: community, family, lifting one another up, taking care of one another. Didn't matter your background. Nobody talked about politics. That didn't matter. If somebody was in need, you just showed up. Plain and simple, no questions asked. So that is what I still carry with me. My brother and I were raised by a single mom who put everything into the two of us. To the point where when it was time for me to go to college, she took classes in how you fill out the FAFSA form. Because back then it was on paper. So for the longest time, she was the expert in our town. Because we were going to college and there was no argument. She didn't go to college. She was they call them associates now, she was a teacher's aide. Could have easily been a teacher. One of the smartest people I will ever know. We lost her 2 years ago, December, to dementia, and she started slipping right when I ran for school board the first time. So I never got to share any of this with her, but I know she's so proud of me. And I carry her life lessons about community and what it takes, standing up for people who need it. I carry that with me all the time. And that is part of why I am up here taking on this thing that I never thought I would do. And then things about me, I'm up here in a t-shirt, that's who I am. I'm t-shirt, I'm pants that look dressy, but they're really yoga pants. That's just who I am. So I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat anything. I'm always gonna be real. I'm gonna tell you how I feel and what I think, even if we may not agree. But like Heather said, to just start those conversations. I wanna start, I guess I already started. I wanna say that I do love Ankeny, and I love Iowa, which again, Wisconsin native, can be hard to say. But I do believe that we can do a lot better than we're doing right now. But loving something and wanting better for it is not a contradiction. We hear so many times, you don't like it, leave. That's not how you handle things. You can love something and want it to be better. Lost my space here. Loving something and wanting better for it, it rejects complacency in favor of improvement. It allows for growth, change, and pursuit of higher potential. And Ankeny and the state of Iowa deserve that. So this campaign for me isn't about left or right. It's about what works for Iowa and what works for the people in Iowa. So as I was preparing what to talk about, I kept going back to every candidate, every politician has their issues, right? You go on their website, go to their issues page, you can read all about what their issues are. And I put them on my website as well, but I just kept coming back to a line. I kept coming back to a through line. So we talk about these issues, but they don't exist in a silo. There is a through line to all of these issues that are important to us. And so that's kind of what I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm not going to pick every through line through every issue. I won't keep you here that long. But I just want to talk a little bit, and I've pulled an example out. So I'm going to start by saying Republicans always think they're the pro-business party, right? They're the only pro-business party, but their extent of pro-business is cut taxes and cut regulations. That's what they think pro-business is. And so I wanted to take that Republican point of view and run it through the things that are important to all Iowans. Because nobody really asks, what do businesses actually need to succeed? And they need more than tax cuts, and they need more than less regulations. So tonight I'm going to walk through a few things and just talk about that through line. So the first thing businesses need is an educated workforce, right? Common sense. So if we want skilled, competitive workforce in 20 years, the decisions we make right now are going to impact that. So if you are pro-business, if you are pro-growth, you should absolutely be pro-universal preschool. Because that is where you set the stage. That is where you set the stage for an educated workforce. And Heather is a policy wonk. I love data. So if you want to sell me on something, come with data. And I'm not going to ask you why. I'm going to ask you why 5 times. Well, why is that? Until we can get down to the root cause. So there's going to be some data sprinkled in here. Research from Boston's pre-K program found that a single year of preschool raised high school graduation rates by 6 percentage points and college attendance by 8. And for parents who have kids that are enrolled in universal pre-K, they can make roughly $5,400 more a year because they don't have to leave early. They don't have to turn things down because they have a place for their children to go. So universal pre-K is a business decision. It is a pro-business decision. And it's not charity, it's an investment. Every dollar you put into universal pre-K, between $3 and $10 comes back. Programs can save the government $13,000 to $19,000 per child in future societal costs. So if you were really worried about government spending, you would invest in universal pre-K. So obviously, I support universal pre-K because it is an investment. And along that is childcare. Heather mentioned it. Actually, I could have just stepped away because Heather pretty much mentioned everything I was going to talk about. But education doesn't just start at age 4. So we need childcare. We need high quality childcare. Because right now, Iowa loses $935 million every single year because families can't find or afford childcare. That's not a family issue, that is a business issue. That's an Iowa economic issue. Businesses lose $82 million annually due to childcare failures. Missed work, reduced hours, parents leaving the workforce entirely, and 41% of Iowa childcare programs report staffing shortages. So again, that's a pro-business decision. Childcare. And a lot of parents in this room know, you've rearranged your schedules, you've turned down promotions, you've not taken a job because the math doesn't work. You don't make enough to pay for the child care. So, also pro-child care. The next thing that they need is a healthy workforce. You can't show up for work if you're sick. You can't build a business if your employees are struggling with their health conditions. And Iowa has a healthcare crisis. Iowa has the second highest cancer rate, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, and the fastest growing rate of new cancers. And it's not just the big cities. 87 of Iowa's 99 counties have higher cancer rates than the nation. That is a crisis. And cancer is just one part of it. When people lack access to regular health care, small problems grow into big problems. They can't find a provider. They can't take time off work for treatment. Turns into catastrophic issues. I believe in healthcare access. And I believe in something else too, and that is your healthcare decisions belong between you and your doctor. I just went through a healthcare issue, and if a politician would have walked into that room to try to make decisions with me, I'd have lost my mind. Whether we're talking about cancer treatment, mental health care, reproductive health, those are all personal decisions, and I will try to protect what rights we have left and try to get back the rights that you have lost. Again, a healthy workforce, it's not just a political issue, it's a business issue. A diverse workforce. I know that's a swear word, diverse. A welcoming state. So it's funny that our elected politicians don't understand this, but companies understand that you need a diverse workforce. They're more innovative, more adaptable, and more profitable. Companies understand this. So when Iowa continues to pass laws that make people feel unwelcome, when we signal to the LGBTQ+ community, immigrant families, people of color, that this state isn't for them, we aren't just making a giant moral mistake, we're making an economic mistake. Talent is very mobile, especially now. So when people are choosing where to live, the best workers are gonna go to Minnesota or Illinois or Colorado over Iowa, if Iowa is putting a sign up that says, you're just not welcome here. So I want Iowa to be a state where everyone feels welcome. Not because it's the politically correct thing to do, which it is, because it's smart, competitive, Iowa first thing to do. We should be recruiting talent, not driving it away. And I think this off the top of my head, but a new study just came out, and we are 4th worst in talent leaving the state. I think we got worse from the last time this study came out. I should have written it down, but we are definitely in the bottom of young talent leaving the state, hence a daughter who's going to college in Wisconsin. The next thing is affordable housing, which Heather touched on. You can't recruit workers if there's no place for them to live. It's pretty simple. Ankeny is growing, and that's wonderful, although we're starting to level off a little bit. But growth without affordability is a trap. Teachers, nurses, child care workers, first responders, the people who make this community function are priced out. Communities all over Iowa. So when positions can't be filled because people can't find housing, that's another workforce problem. It's an economic development problem. So I don't understand, as I talk through these, why Republicans can't look that far out to see how all these things tie together. So I support smart, proactive housing policies, support workforce housing developments. As Ankeny grows, we need to make sure that it stays open for working families. And then my last pillar, I promise I'm almost done, sorry. A skilled workforce, from classroom to career. None of these pillars matter if we can't have a clear path from education to employment. Iowa has world-class community colleges and hard-working public school teachers who show up every day to prepare the next generation of workers. We need to invest in that pipeline, not continue to undermine it. And this shouldn't come as a surprise, but I'm opposed to the voucher program. When we take that money out and send it to private institutions, we're not expanding opportunity, we're draining resources from the kids and the communities that need them most. The students left behind in underfunded public schools are the same students who will be in the workforce. Recurring theme here. Weakening their schools weakens our economy. I believe in public schools, full stop, and I will die on that hill. This isn't in my speech, but when I think about the public and the private, public schools don't care what you look like, they don't care how you love, and they don't care how you learn. You can show up at that door and it doesn't matter. None of those things matter. You can go to a private school and they can say, well, you don't have the right look for us. Or you don't learn the right way. We don't have the resources to help you learn. Or you don't love the right way according to our rules. And they can shut the door. Public schools take everyone. And that right there should be enough for us to universally support public schools. They support every child. So when we invest in public education from kindergarten all the way through college, or the workforce, or apprenticeship programs, or whatever that path is, every student has a different path. And that's good. That's okay. Let them find their path. We are building a workforce that Iowa businesses are desperately looking for. And again, it's not a social program, it's an economic strategy. So I just walked you through a lot, 5 different issues, and you might be thinking, that's a lot of ground to cover. It is, but I just kept coming back to how these things exist together. They work together. And so that's what I'm gonna try. That's the lens I wanna look through for my campaign. They're not 5 separate issues, they're one idea. When we invest in early childhood education, we free parents to work and grow Iowa's economy. When we make healthcare accessible, workers show up. When we welcome everyone, we recruit the talent our businesses need. When we build our housing people can afford, we retain the workforce we've built. When we invest in our public schools and community colleges, we build that skilled workforce that Iowa businesses are desperately looking for. It all connects. It all works together, and it all comes back to one question I'll ask every single day in the legislature. Does this help Iowa families build a good life here? That is my test. It's my through line. It's what this campaign is going to be about, and we can win the future, but we need to do it together. I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for your trust. I'm asking you to join me because the work we do in the next few months has the potential to improve this community and improve this state for years to come. Thank you, and I'm ready to get to work.